Number 10. Getting to a high place. You've probably seen it 100 times in the movies. The hero is lost in the wilderness, they scale the highest peak in sight, and suddenly they can see the whole lay of the land. That's not just for dramatic effect. It's a legitimate old-school survival tactic that people have completely forgotten. Our modern brains are so accustomed to GPS and Google Maps that we've lost the basic instinct to look for an elevated vantage point. Instead, we panic and wander aimlessly. Your ancestors knew that getting to the highest point was the key to everything. From a high place, you can spot a water source, a trail, or a potential threat. You can also spot landmarks to help you navigate. It's a simple concept that has been drilled out of us by technology. Next time you're lost, instead of pulling out your phone, remember that your brain has the same processing power as a wild animal. It just needs a little boost. The highest point in the immediate area is your map. It's your compass. It's your escape route. It's a way to see what your ancient brain is trying to tell you, but your modern brain has decided to ignore. Number 9. Finding and purifying water. We're so used to drinking bottled water that the idea of finding a safe water source in the wild feels like a scene from a bad reality TV show. But finding and purifying water is the single most important survival skill you can possess. Forget fire and shelter. You'll die of dehydration long before you freeze to death. The first thing you should do in a survival situation is find a water source. Look for animals, listen for frogs, and watch for low-lying areas. The water itself isn't the problem. It's the invisible stuff living in it. You can't just drink from a stream and hope for the best. Your great-grandparents would have known to boil the water for at least a minute to kill off bacteria and parasites. But for a lot of people today, this is new information. Most people don't even know how to start a fire without a lighter. This is a skill that's been drilled out of us because we've never had to do it. Our brains have decided that a water bottle is a better solution. The scary part is that your brain has already forgotten a skill that has kept humans alive for thousands of years. Number 8. Foraging for food. In a survival situation, your first instinct is probably to look for food, but unless you're a Boy Scout, you have no idea what's safe to eat. Our ancestors knew exactly what to look for and what to avoid. They knew which plants were poisonous, which berries were edible, and which roots would give them a good meal. We, on the other hand, are completely useless. We see a bush of red berries and think, "Ooh, they look delicious," completely unaware that they could be deadly. The most common mistake people make is to eat something they see a bird or an animal eating. But our biology is different from a bird's, so what's safe for them could be fatal for you. You could be surrounded by an abundance of food, but because you lack this basic, forgotten knowledge, you'll starve. It's like being in a giant supermarket where you don't know what any of the labels say. Your brain has decided to outsource this knowledge to a grocery store, and in a survival situation, that is a fatal flaw. Number 7. Building a proper shelter. You've probably seen a lot of movies where a character just leans a few branches against a tree and calls it a shelter. In reality, a poorly constructed shelter is worse than no shelter at all. It can trap moisture, fail to protect you from the elements, and in some cases, collapse on top of you. Our ancestors knew how to build a shelter that was warm, dry, and strong enough to withstand the elements. This is a skill that's been forgotten because our modern brains have decided that a house or a tent is a better option. But in a survival situation, your ability to build a proper shelter is crucial. You need to insulate it, waterproof it, and make sure it's big enough for you to fit inside. The goal isn't to build a house. It's to create a microclimate that can protect you from the outside world. This is a skill that takes practice, and it's a skill that a lot of people have just never had to learn. Number 6. Navigating without a compass. We rely so heavily on our phones and GPS that the idea of navigating with nothing but the sun and stars feels like something out of a fantasy novel. But your ancestors were experts at this. They knew that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and they knew how to use the North Star to find their way at night. The terrifying thing is that our modern brains have lost this basic ability. We're so used to being told where to go that we've lost our sense of direction. In a survival situation, a compass and a map are useless if you don't know how to read them. But your ability to navigate using natural landmarks is a skill that can never be taken away from you. It's an internal GPS that has been ignored for decades. It's a skill that can be the difference between life and death. Number 5, making a fire without a lighter. We have a habit of taking our modern comforts for granted. We have lighters, matches, and stoves. Our ancestors had 2 sticks and a dream. The ability to create fire is one of the most important survival skills you can possess. It provides warmth, protection from predators, and a way to cook food and purify water. But most people today have no idea how to make a fire without a lighter. Our brains have decided that this is a useless skill, and so we've forgotten it. This is a terrifying thought, because fire can be the difference between a cold night and a warm one. It can be the difference between a raw meal and a cooked one. It's a skill that has been passed down for thousands of years, and it's a skill that we've let die. Number 4, reading weather patterns. Our ancestors were weather experts. They could look at the clouds, feel the wind, and predict a storm long before it arrived. But we, on the other hand, are completely reliant on our weather apps. Our brains have decided that a meteorologist's forecast is more reliable than our own senses, and we've forgotten how to read the sky. This is a dangerous habit because a sudden storm can be a matter of life or death. A sudden downpour can make a river uncrossable. A sudden windstorm can tear a shelter apart. Your ability to read weather patterns is a skill that can protect you from the elements, and it's a skill that we've let atrophy. Number 3, knowing basic first aid. In a modern world, a cut or a bruise is just an annoyance. We have bandages, antiseptic, and hospitals. Our ancestors had to know how to stop bleeding, clean a wound, and treat a snake bite. They knew which plants had medicinal properties and which ones would make a wound worse. We, on the other hand, are completely helpless. We've outsourced this knowledge to doctors and nurses, and we've forgotten how to take care of ourselves. In a survival situation, a simple cut can become a life-threatening infection. Your ability to know basic first aid is a skill that can save your life. It's a skill that we've let die, and it's a skill that can be the difference between a minor inconvenience and a fatal one. Number 2, listening to your body. Our modern world is filled with distractions. We have phones, TVs, and music. We've forgotten how to listen to our bodies. Our ancestors knew when they were hungry, when they were thirsty, and when they were tired. They knew when they were in danger, and they knew when they needed to rest. We, on the other hand, are completely out of touch with our own bodies. We've ignored our instincts, and we've forgotten how to listen to our internal GPS. In a survival situation, your body is your best friend. It will tell you when you need to rest, when you need to eat, and when you need to run. But if you've ignored it for decades, you won't know how to listen. Number 1, trusting your gut. Have you ever had a feeling that something was wrong, even when you couldn't explain why? That's your intuition, and it's a survival skill that's been drilled out of us by logic and reason. Our ancestors lived and died by their gut feelings. They knew that if something felt wrong, it probably was. But our modern brains have decided that our gut feelings are just irrational thoughts, and we've learned to ignore them. In a survival situation, your intuition can be the difference between life and death. It's a subconscious warning system that's constantly scanning your environment for threats. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, something's not right here, long before your conscious mind has had a chance to process the information. The terrifying thing is that we've learned to ignore this internal warning system. We've decided that our gut feelings are just a product of our imagination, and we've forgotten how to listen to them. It's a primal skill that we've let die, and it's a skill that can be the difference between a close call and a fatal one.